Okay, you've been turning a while, you've turned some bowls, you've turned some boxes, now you want to step up your game and turn the Great American Hollow Form. Let me show you a good way to start, a project that'll make it a little easier for you to develop a little tool control, a little more comfort, and a little more confidence in your ability to hollow before you get too carried away. Hi, I'm Mike Peace Wood Turning. I'm passionate about wood turning, and I'm here to share with you tips, tricks, and techniques to help you become a better wood turner. If this is what you're interested in, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Okay, maybe your goal is to turn something like this, or maybe something like this. The challenges are similar in that you're hollowing, and the cutter, you aren't able to actually see what's taking place. So I'm suggesting you start with a simpler form, such as this kitchen caddy I'm working on. Let me show you. So I've got a piece of Bradford pear chucked up. I'm turning a form about 6 inches long and about 4 inches across. And rather than, I'm going to be doing a hollowing process, but I'm not having to reach behind the shoulder on this particular piece. I'm going to have straight walls. It's kind of like a large box without a top. But by doing this with a hollowing tool and by practicing or starting off and developing your skills with something like this, you can see exactly what that cutter's doing. It makes no difference whether you're using a small 5/16 inch high-speed steel cutter bar like this one, or whether you're using one of the new nanocarbide hunter type tools. You want to see what it's doing, and you want to feel it cutting. So you can feel that tool when you're hitting ripples, or if you've gone a little too deep, you want to be able to feel it. So let's practice. All right, now I'm using a Jameson rig, but it doesn't make any difference what your rig is. You could be using an articulated arm. You could be using hand tools, although frankly, using a hand arm brace was never real attractive to me, especially if you're dealing with, once you go past small forms just a few inches tall, this is just much more comfortable and relaxed. So the key thing is you want to be cutting right on center. I'm turning it about 800. We're just going to just easy it in and watch the cut. Take small bites. Now in the hollowing, normally you're going to hollow a tube down the middle before you come back in the walls to give you a place for chips to set. So let me show you what I'm talking about. We might be looking at something like, something like that. Let's assume we were getting under this as a shoulder. We're going to just hollow out the middle for clearance area. These chips don't like to be bound up. Alright, now let's practice with a different cutter. Just starting out, I know there's always, you always got questions of what kind of tools should I buy for the task at hand, and hollowing is no different. I'm not going to go into in depth, but I just want to touch on a few different basic styles of hollowing tips. We're not talking about the tool systems, handheld or anything, just the tips. So the most common one is this 5/16 inch bit. Basically, you buy a bit, I think it's 2.5 inches long, and you cut it in half, and it makes you two tips. And you can see the profile on it, flat on the top, and you sharpen that on a grinder. The other tip that's very popular is the hunter tip, and the holder for this positions this tip at the right angle, and it'll go in the same holder as this high-speed steel tip. But this is nanocarbide, very aggressive, and it'll just clean that wood out real fast. Then we have scrapers. The scrapers tend to be better finishing tools. Here's a small one, and it's got a profile in front like a typical scraper. This, like I say, this tends to be used for finishing the walls and doing some cleanup before you get ready to start sanding. This is a similar one. It's just a little bit larger. It was a teardrop. I didn't like the shape, so I made it a little rounder. but it has that same kind of profile, and it's great for doing some very minor cleanup work, getting rid of small ripples. More aggressive work, and I think you need a cutter, one of these types of cutters. I'm going to replace this high-speed steel with this Hunter carbide, and just give you a feel for what it looks like. Okay, now it's snugged up. We're going to come in from the side. You generally don't push this tool. This one tends to be a pull tool. We can actually move this support a little bit closer. The Hunter carbide tends to a nicer finish because it's cutting a smaller shaving. Well, there's an old saying: if you ask 10 wood turners how to do something, you're going to get 11 different answers. And not everybody necessarily agree with this technique, but before you get involved with using a laser, which is a terrific tool, or one of these TV camera monitor visualizer things, before you go high tech, get a feel for how the tool is cutting. Instead of being distracted by looking at an image on a screen or looking at a red dot, just get a feel for the tool. So we're going to come in here with this angle tool. This is for getting behind the shoulder. And again, we're going to pull this. Just get a feel for how it's going to cut. How much effort does it take? How much pressure should you put on it? How fast should you move it? Does it feel like it's at the right cutting height, or should you raise it or lower it a little bit? These are all types of little fine, subtle things that you can easily get comfortable with doing an open canister like this as your first piece or two. I'll have a link at the end of this video to Lyle Jamison's channel. Lyle's been hollowing probably 2 or 3 times longer than I've been turning. So if you go to his channel, you'll see some great videos on some tips and techniques on hollowing. Y'all stay safe. Come on back here.